By all means, be happy with yourself, love yourself. Of course, you deserve it. But if you're skinny and if you're chubby and if you're not fat, if you're not overweight, if you're not obese and you're thinking that you are safe, that is a fallacy. The truth is that having a pot belly can be far more alarming than being obese. And in some cases, being skinny can be even worse. But Pooja, how is that even possible? Let's find out. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Pooja Ketoyogi. Have you ever looked into the mirror and thought, I must be healthy, after all, I'm not fat? That's what I used to think, till I started observing people around me. What I observed was that most of the people around me who were diseased were actually skinny, or they were skinny with the pot belly, or they were actually looking alright, they were not obese, they were not fat. In fact, only 50% of the diseased people I could find were actually obese. And by obese I mean, you look at them and you think there must be something wrong in their body because they are that fat. Go ahead and notice your own circle, make that observation for yourself and let me know your observations in the comments down below. Do you know what has been the major topic in health news from past 5 years? If you have been concerned enough and if you have browsed through news in last 5 years, you would already know the answer. But if you haven't been concerned enough and you don't know, let me tell you, it has been all about obesity. Let me tell you what the headline says. In fact, let me read it out. Obesity is the leading cause of all chronic diseases like diabetes, poor metabolism, cardiovascular complications, blood pressure issues, hormonal imbalances, and even certain types of cancer. It is not a lie, but it is a partial truth at best. Don't get me wrong, if you're obese, my friend, you need to take this as a warning, you need to take this as a wake-up call, you need to put the work because my friend, you are going downhill. But obesity has become such a dread nowadays that it has taken all the focus away from slightly overweight people. Now everyone thinks that if they are skinny, if they are only slightly obese, if they have a pot belly, if they are chubby, they must be healthy because after all, they are not obese. Tell me how many of you think that chubby is cute? I know I do. I like chubby kids, I like chubby babies, I like chubby adults. In fact, the rounder you are, the cuter you look. In our minds, chubbiness always correlates to prosperity because it implies that you have an abundance of food and not scarcity. That is the reason every mother wants their kids to be chubby and not skinny. But what do skinny people think about all this? Let me tell you. They think that they have hit the genetic lottery and that they can get away with eating anything. And they are not wrong. They are mostly blessed with a highly active metabolism, which means that they can get away with eating a lot of crappy food, and they do that. They can get quite careless with their diet because after all that crappy food is not making them fat. Don't get me wrong again, I always believe that there is beauty in everything and you should love yourself no matter which size you are. Whether you are tall, whether you are short, whether you are thin, whether you are fat, you should always love yourself the way you are. By all means, be happy with yourself, love yourself. Of course, you deserve it. But if you're skinny and if you're chubby and if you're not fat, if you're not overweight, if you're not obese and you're thinking that you are safe, that is a fallacy. The truth is that having a pot belly can be far more alarming than being obese. And in some cases, being skinny can be even worse. But Pooja, how is that even possible? Let's find out. We all have that friend who doesn't gain an inch despite eating all junk food all the time. But you, my unfortunate pal, you turn into a cow after eating just a single bite. I know I have hit a nerve there. We think it is an unfair advantage. It must be their genes. We are not completely wrong. Everybody's body is different. We always hear that, but we rarely wonder what it means. One of the factors that differs from person to person is their body's ability to store fat in various areas of the body. Not everyone, and I repeat, not everyone has the capability of becoming obese. In fact, some people cannot even get chubby no matter how crappy their diet be. Does it mean that such people are healthier from the inside? In fact, no. Such people can be far unhealthy inside compared to an obese person. We live in a superficial world. We always judge people based on the way they look from the outside, even though deep down we know that it's what inside that counts. And I mean that figuratively and literally. When we think about obesity, we always picture a round person whose whole body jiggles when they walk. What we don't know is that superficial jiggly fat is actually pretty harmless. Dangerous is the fat that is stored deeper inside our body. Let's briefly understand how fat is stored in our body. When we eat carbs, our body uses that for energy and then stores the excess carbs as fat in the body. It first starts storing the fat beneath the skin in adipose tissues. This fat is also called as subcutaneous fat. This fat is pretty harmless. In fact, it is pretty useful. It is used in synthesis of vitamin D in our body. Next, what happens is, as these adipose tissues start filling up with fat and start reaching their near full capacity, they start becoming increasingly inefficient at storing the fat. So now that your adipose tissues cannot hold more fat, this excess fat gets stored deeper inside your body near your vital organs. This fat is also called belly fat or visceral fat. If you are not already scared, scarier part is coming up next. These cells which hold the visceral fat go through the same fate as the adipose tissues. As they start filling up with more and more fat, they become increasingly inefficient at storing more fat. So now what happens to the excess fat? Now the excess fat gets stored inside your vital organs. If that's not scary, I don't know what is. This visceral fat that is stored around your body's vital organs and inside them is the dangerous fat. Now coming back to the point, many people do not have the tendency to get obese. This is because their adipose tissues do not have a lot of capacity to hold fat beneath the skin. In their case, the excess fat gets stored around the vital organs as visceral fat, which may be visible as a belly. Such people are at greater risk of chronic diseases like diabetes, like blood pressure, like cardiovascular diseases much sooner than the person who can become obese. Worse can be the case with skinny people who are incapable of storing fat beneath their skin and around their organs. In their case, the excess fat gets stored inside the vital organs. This condition is also called skinny fat, and such skinny people need to be extra careful with their diet, extra careful with their lifestyle, otherwise things can go south pretty soon without a warning. Ethnicity also plays a major role in fat distribution around the body. You might have noticed Indians and Asians do not become obese. You might have also noticed that Indians and Asians store belly fat much faster. This is because their adipose tissues does not have that much capacity to hold fat under the skin, so they gain belly fat much faster. As a result, they can get chronic diseases sooner than an obese counterpart with the same weight. Is it just me, or suddenly obesity is starting to sound better than skinny fat? Well, it is. If you are obese, you have a warning system of visible fat gain. This warning system lets you know that you are now prone to chronic diseases, so you better take an action. On the contrary, chronic diseases can come as a silent killer for some of those skinny fat people because they have no warning system, they have no visible fat gain, and they are usually less concerned about their health. But don't get disheartened, there is a silver lining to all this fat distribution in the body. The silver lining is that the more dangerous fat gets used before the less dangerous fat. What this means is that when you start burning fat, your body is going to burn the dangerous fat first. It is going to burn the visceral fat that is inside your organs first, and then it will move on to burning the fat that is around your organs. And then and only then will it touch the superficial jiggly fat. Your body will fix you from the inside first, utilizing the dangerous fat first before touching the superficial jiggly fat. So my friends, all those efforts that you put in workouts, in fasting, in keto are far more fruitful than you can actually see. Do I have you motivated now? So what can we do to ensure good health? First of all, observe your body. Notice where you gain fat, if you gain fat. If you are obese, you already have the warning signs, so please do not hit snooze on those. Do those fast. Do keto. Get your ass off that couch. Now for the unfortunate folks who think they are fortunate enough not to be obese, just look down. Do you have a pot belly? If you have a pot belly, consider that as a warning system. It's time to ditch the carbs. It's time to do those fasts, and it's time to hit the gym. Now for the rare, unlucky ones who never gain fat no matter what, you, my friend, need to be far more conscious. You need to know what's going on inside your body. You need to be sure that your blood sugars are under control, your insulin is under control, your triglycerides are under attack. You need to be sure that you do not have a fatty liver. You need to be sure that you don't have a high BP. If any of your test results are abnormal, the advice is the same. It's time to ditch the carbs. It's time to go low carb. It's time to try keto. It's time to do the fast. And it's time to work out. Essentially, burn that fat. If you like my content, please like my videos and subscribe to my channel.